Welcome to Model Engineers Laser. My name is Holly and this is part 14 of our jack build. Our last video I've been quite busy and I'm just going to run through now the things that I've been up to. The first of which is I have soldered the front of the smoke box onto the smoke box wrapper. You'll see that on there. And not only has it been soldered, it's been cleaned up in the acid bath. I'm going to explain that in this video now, so don't worry, you've not missed a process of anything that way. The second job I have done is, you may remember that these parts were attached to the smoke box wrapper at the ends and we snapped them off. I've just taken a file to take the sprues off, and I've also done a little bit of filing on the tabs here because they make the bottom of the smoke box. You will understand that as we explain how it all goes together. I've also got my riveting jig out from video 2, those of you following along or have interrupted as we've gone through and caught us in the middle. If you go back to video 2, it explains how I've cut rivets using the riveting jig. The only difference that I've done from video 2 to this video is if I turn that around to the camera, as you can see, the rivets are standing proud. That's because they're not needed to file down, you're not going to see them. And that was just another process when you're doing the rivets for the frames that you are going to see the backs. So I haven't had to file them in, so you can see that they all stand proud on that one there. There's 15 rivets in total that you need, but depending on how brave you are at just doing 15 and not losing any, that's completely up to you. I'm just going to explain what we're going to do next. So I'm holding this very carefully because these rivets will fall out quite easily. These form the smoke box bottom, and you will see that there is a longer tab and a shorter tab. The longer tab is the one that comes out of the back, and you'll see why later. So the shorter tab needs to slot into that position there, which is why I've done some filing and why the rivet's fallen out, which is why I was trying to be careful. Okay, I'm going to do that off camera because it's difficult to do it on camera at the same time. I'm going to put that carefully. So those need to go in there, and you will see there that this edge is flush and there's a tab that's proud here. So if I take that out, you will see on the smoke box base that there is a short, is that focus in there? There we go, it's focused. You've got a shorter tab here and a longer tab. These stick towards, to point towards the centre of the smoke box. So as a pair, actually going to be that way around, as you're looking from the footplate, that is how they will sit. That is how they will sit, with the short tabs pointing towards the front of the engine and these pointing towards the back. So as you can see with the smoke box on the bottom there, I hold that as such, they will fit that way around into those relevant slots. What I'm going to do now, as I did in video 12, where we were doing the soldering in that video, is using the same equipment, and I'm going to put flux along this edge here with the tabs, just so you can see. So this is where we want our solder to go, all along there on this facing edge on these tabs, and that's the first part, is to put some flux on those edges there, and also not neglecting the tabs because you have to put these in before you put the back on. The whole assembly has to go together. So flux up your tabs on this one and on the base on the smoke box. Put these in place. Remember to put the short tabs in first with the centres pointing towards each of the wide edges, and then put this on so you've got the tabs of your smoke box lining up and the tabs sticking out through there. And you also need to put flux on the inside along all the rivets. So just dab them onto the rivets so that they're in place at the moment. And if you remember, as we demonstrated in part 12, it doesn't actually require a lot of solder. It will sit quite nicely with the a little bit of solder. You're not welding a boat together. You don't need all of it. The flux will guide it to where it needs to go. Once that's all in one piece, it's going to be very hot because there's quite a bit of soldering involved. So just allow it to cool enough that you're able to pick it up. And then it needs to go into the acid bath overnight, which is where I'll pick up this video. You guys won't see it. It'll just cut off and start again at a slightly different angle and different lighting. But you'll see it all after it's been cleaned up in the acid bath with a bit of a scrub. Now I'm holding the camera just to show you what I've done, and it's a bit messy, so I don't want to pick up, so I'm going to sort of navigate you round. So as you can see, the base plates are in for the smokebox base, whatever you want to call it. There's a lot of flux there. And then you'll see that it's all flux nicely ready to be attached together along the bottom. And if I bring you up there, you can just see a rivet peeking out at the back over there to the right of the hole where the chimney will go through the smoke box. Oh, focus has gone weird. So I hope that is clear enough for you to see how it all goes together, ready for soldering. And that's it all soldered up. Doesn't look very pretty now, but sometime in the acid bath, once it's cooled down, and there's all the rivets and a good clean up, it will look a lot better. But just so you guys know what it will look like after you soldered, and don't worry if it starts to look a bit weird and discoloured. Let's see if I can show you on the inside. I don't want to get too close because I can feel the heat radiating off it from here. But just a quick look for you. So here we are after it's been in the acid bath and cleaned up with some Scotch-Brite. And you can see how the solder is taken inside out here and along these edges here. Now you may remember that when we fitted this together, we were talking how this wider circle here needed to have the longer tabs on. That is because this piece needs to sit on here, and you'll see that it's not flat here, it's got a little curved section, and the two tabs slots for the extended tabs to slot into there like that. So the next job is to take a file and just where I've soldered it up, it's going to have a little bit of excess. So I just need to clean that up. And also it's going to foul because you've hand bent this, so it's not going to be perfect. Just get a file to these tabs that's sticking out, because this is really important that, oh, it's gone blurry. It's really important that this sits flat. So very much how we soldered the rest of it together, some flux and some solder. So that's my next stage, to get a file, flux it up and solder it together. So I've done a bit of cleaning up, and you can see there that that's nice and smooth. But just something to point out when you're filing is you need to keep making sure that they fit on there like that, flat. So as you can see, that one isn't too bad, but that one's got a bit of a gap. You can probably see it better there than you can on the actual. Oh, there you go, you can see there's a bit of a gap, and that's because it's got a build-up of solder. So it's just worth taking a little bit of extra time. Sure, let's finish up there. Just to file up around those corners there, to make sure you get a nice good flat fit. What, darling? Your turn? What about your turn? You want to do it? This loco is taking me longer to build because of the apprentice. Right. Okay. Right-handed. That's your left hand. You're right-handed. This hand. You got it? Hold it tight. There. You reach to hold that there like that. That's it. You do it. You do it. Nice and flat. You got it? Hold it tight. Good job. Should we test it? Oh, jump off my lap. There we go. You might have done it. You want to show Daddy? You can show Daddy in a minute, darling. I just need to check it's okay. I think that's got it. Nice, good. Fit all around there. You're going to have a gap show at the bottom a bit there, because don't forget that this bit sticks proud. So it looks like. Probably do a bit more filing. That's quite a good seal. I think that'll do. Focus. There we go. So now it's to flux all this in. Yeah, you can show Daddy in a second. Go and show Daddy then. Off you go. Go and show Daddy. So the next stage is, once she's shown Daddy, I'm going to flux it up on the side and we're going to get it soldered together. And I will show you that next. Turns out that Erica was telling on me to Daddy because I would have made a mistake. Before we solder this onto here, there's also an additional ring in your jack kit that you get from us, which is this one here, and that needs to slot in the groove that's created in there. Now, the only reason mine doesn't seem to be is that it needs a little bit of tweaking. So with laser cutting, you have a start and a finish. So let's see if it'll come into focus. There you go, because there's a tiny little, that's where it, there, it's where it started and finished the laser cutting process. So it started here, come down, gone round and finished the cut there. So it's just got a tiny little burr there. I need to file that off and maybe do a little bit more tweaking around the edge here to get that. Yes, dear. Well done. Thank you for telling me that I was making a mistake. But I think that is the only reason that it doesn't fit in there. And that needs to be soldered on at the same time. So I'm also just, it's fitting quite nice actually, but I'm going to just take that off there. And then that needs to become part of your soldering process as well. So thank you for pointing out to me that I nearly made a little error and extra work for myself. I shall do that now. And there we have it. We've returned having soldered it all and cleaned it up. So let's just see if I can hold that for you to see. There we go. So there we are on the two slots and tabs there that have lined up nicely. We've put the ring on, as we discussed, that I nearly forgot. It just needs another bit of a clean up in the aspect. We've see, as we've done it, we've made sure all our rivets have stayed in. And it's all lined up nicely. These are to make sure it stays lined up. And there we have it. That's our smoke box. Really pleased with that. Brilliant. We'll call it there for this video. And in our next video, we'll finish off doing our frames that we started and had to wait for our part to arrive, which has arrived now, but we've run out of time on this video. Thank you very much. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. The more likes and subscribe videos get, the more people get to see what we're up to. Maybe get some more people into the hobby. Thank you very much and join us next time.